What is up, my beautiful soap junkies? It's a rainy, moody Tuesday here in New York, which perfectly matches the absolute chaos we are about to dive into today. Welcome back to the channel, and we are breaking down the absolute nightmare unfolding on Spoon Island with our girl Jocelyn. Plus, the potential return of a legendary ghost. Grab your tea because we need to talk. Oh my god. Stop scrolling right now. I'm literally speechless. Are they for real? Dude, I'm so shocked my jaw literally hit the floor when I saw the latest breakdown of what is actually happening to Jocelyn Jax down in the absolute nightmare dungeon of Windermere. Does anyone else feel physically attacked right now? Because I legit cannot process the audacity of Cassius, aka fake Nathan West, just locking our girl up like she is a forgotten prop in a basement inventory. We have survived so many eras of General Hospital. No cap. But this current storyline is serving a messy mix of we are so and back hype, and I'm filing a lawsuit levels of frustration. I am spiraling, besties. We need to unpack this entire situation because the stakes have never been higher. The isolation is getting terrifying, and Carly's blood pressure is probably through the roof on the mainland. While she falsely assumes Jack Brennan sent Jocelyn on a WSB mission, wait, let's just take a second to look at the god-tier mechanical execution of this storyline setup. Essentially, Cassius has Jocelyn trapped at Windermere, and he is playing this twisted game of cat and mouse where he doesn't want to kill her, but he absolutely cannot let her go either. It is total kinetic child's moments waiting to happen. Smash that shift key because I am actually losing my sanity over here. The longer Jocelyn stays trapped down there in the dark, damp corners of the Cassadine estate, the lonelier and more desperate she is going to get. This isn't just a physical prison. It's a psychological torture chamber designed to break her down pixel by pixel. Don't you feel it's so unfair for them to put Jocelyn through this right after everything she's already survived? She has been through the ringer and now she is stuck in a literal stone cage. Remember when they tried this with Anna DeWitt? Yeah, it went nowhere back then. Wait, that's a lie. It was absolutely iconic and terrifying. But you know what I mean. Is this same tragedy happening to Jocelyn all over again? Because if we look at the lead dev's crazy update. History, meaning the writer's room, they love to recycle this specific trope of isolated psychological warfare. Anna was held captive, pumped full of hallucinogens, and forced to confront her darkest demons. She had vivid dreams and intense hallucinations of Liesel Albrecht, Peter August, and Caesar Fisson. Remember when Peter August was haunting Anna's every waking moment? The sheer terror in her eyes when Liesel Albrecht's voice echoed off the dungeon walls. The devs literally coded a masterpiece of psychological horror there. If Cassius applies those same hallucinogenic debuffs to Jocelyn, her mental health bar is going to deplete so fast. I am low-key terrified that he is going to start slipping something into her food to keep her compliant, driving her straight off the deep end. Also, if Jocelyn does get drugged, or even if she just loses it a bit from the sheer crushing isolation of Spoon Island, the potential for ghosts or visions is absolutely astronomical. I know some people are really enjoying this slow burn captive storyline, but personally, I need the impossible lightning reflexes of a massive hallucination sequence to kick this into high gear. Imagine Jocelyn staring into the dark corners of her Windermere cell and suddenly seeing Dex Heller standing there. A vision of Dex could play on her deepest insecurities, telling her she isn't strong enough, or conversely, reminding her of the love she lost. Or worse, what if Cyrus Werno appears as a false prophet in her mind, offering her twisted comfort in the dark, taunting her about her family's mob ties, the psychological weight of seeing the people who have impacted her life, whether for good or evil, would be a straight-up masterclass in character development. But get this, there's one specific ghost that would literally break the internet if he showed up right now. Besties, can we unpack the audacity of manifesting a Morgan Corinthos return? Yes, Morgan Corinthos. I am legit screaming just thinking about it. If Jocelyn's going to have visions, it has to be Morgan. He is the ultimate emotional anchor for her in a time of crisis. Morgan Corinthos hasn't been a physical player on this server in years, but his lore is still the absolute of this family's trauma tree. Sonny Corinthos has received encouragement from Morgan visions before, but it might be Jocelyn's turn this time around. Jocelyn loved Morgan so deeply, and losing him fractured this family in ways they are still trying to heal from. Having Morgan appear to his little sister in her darkest hour to push her Not to give up would be the most emotionally devastating, beautiful thing this show has done in a decade. Slay writers, slay. If you do this, I will forgive every other messy plot line currently running. Hot take incoming. But Carly literally cannot bear to lose another child, and Morgan knows that even as a hallucination, the essence of Morgan would be screaming at Jocelyn to fight back against the dying of the light. "Don't do this to Mom," he would say. "You have to get out of here, Joss. You have to fight." I am crying. You guys, I am legit tearing up just visualizing this scene. Carly is up there on the mainland packing the floors of her kitchen, completely unaware that her daughter is locked in a Cassidy nightmare. The tragic irony is just too much to bear. Morgan appearing to Jocelyn to remind her of her strength, to remind her of the Corinthos Jack's resilience that runs in her veins, would be absolute god-tier mechanical execution of emotional storytelling facts. It would perfectly tie the past lore into the current gameplay mechanics, elevating this entire hostage situation from a standard soap trope to a profound exploration of grief and survival. Wait, I'm getting way too deep in the weeds here. Looking at the writer's update history and analyzing how they handled Morgan's previous ghost appearances. Remember when Sonny was spiraling and Morgan showed up to pull him back from the brink? The devs coded that sequence flawlessly. It was pure emotional damage that resonated with the entire player base. If they apply that same logic to Jocelyn's Windermere isolation, using the same engine mechanics of induced psychosis combined with deep-seated familial trauma, the output will be legendary. We are talking Emmy reel material, no cap. But anyway, back to the actual gameplay of Jocelyn trying to survive Cassius in the present moment. Don't you think they should let Jocelyn turn the tables on Cassius? Because our girl is not just going to sit there and wait for a ghostly brother to save her. General Hospital spoilers. Say a few tricks up her sleeve when it comes to Cassius, but she'll have to be careful. We know Jocelyn has been trying another tactic with him, trying to manipulate him and let his guard down. Cassius is a wild card. He's incredibly dangerous, but he's also currently finding a confidant in Jocelyn, or at least she's trying to make him think he is. This is high-stakes psychological chess, besties. She's playing 4D chess while he thinks he's just playing a simple game of lock and key. She's studying his movements, learning his soft spots, and waiting for the exact right frame to exploit his coding. Let's deep dive into Cassius for a second. He is holding her hostage, yes, but he is also facing intense fury from Dante Falconry out in the real world over the whole Rocco cover-up. Cassius is under immense pressure. His simulation is glitching. Dante is out there literally tearing the city apart over the Rocco shooting cover-up, and Cassius is caught right in the crossfire of that aggro. When a captor is under extreme external pressure, their aggro meter peaks and they make mistakes. Jocelyn needs to exploit those impossible lightning reflexes and strike when he slips up. If she can use her isolation to her advantage, maybe feign madness or the drugs are breaking her faster than they actually are. She can lure him into the cell, drop his guard, and make her move. I am literally vibrating with anxiety thinking about this physical confrontation. Windermere itself is practically a character in this mess, and we need to acknowledge its dark aura. That castle has seen more kidnappings, murders, and secret resurrections than any other location on the map. It is a nexus of total kinetic chaos moments, Jocelyn. Being trapped there is poetic in a really twisted way. The cold stone walls, the secret passages, the sheer isolation of Spoon Island, it's designed to make you feel like the rest of the world has forgotten you exist. And for a girl who has always been at the center of the Port Charles social scene, being ripped away from her friends, from Trina Robinson, from Dex, from her mother, it's a sensory deprivation tank of the soul. No cap. The atmospheric storytelling here is hitting different right now, and the sound design of water dripping in the background of her scenes is giving me literal chills. Let's go back to the hallucination roster, because I am not done manifesting this. If we don't get Morgan, what if we get a dark, twisted version of Dex? Imagine a hallucination of Dex telling her she wasn't strong enough, playing on her deepest fears of abandonment. That would be a brutal, agonizing sequence to watch, but it would push her to snap out of her despair, out of pure spite. Jocelyn is fueled by spite half the time. Anyway, let's be real. She would look at fake Dex and scream, "Watch me survive this." Or Cyrus Renault appearing in his creepy, soft-spoken voice, offering her twisted comfort in the dark, trying to convince her that the darkness is her true home. The writers have a massive sandbox of psychological torment here, and I need them to use every single tool in the kit to push Jocelyn to her absolute limits. I know some people are really enjoying this, but personally, I see a lot of fans in the comments saying they are tired of the hostage tropes. Oh, another person locked in a basement. How original. But this is my personal take, and many might disagree. But this is different. This is Jocelyn Jacks. We have watched her grow up from a sassy kid into a fierce young woman who absolutely does not back down from a fight. Seeing her, stripped of her power, forced to rely entirely on her wits, and potentially the spiritual guidance of her deceased brother. That is premium soap opera television, my friends. That is why we tune in every single day since day one. We live for this exact brand of emotional devastation. We want to see our heroes pushed to the brink so their triumph feels earned. So, how does she actually get out? Does Britt Westbourne stumble upon her while sneaking around Windermere? Does Lucas Jones follow a trail of clues all the way to Spoon Island? Or does Jocelyn completely self-rescue by manipulating Cassius into a trap? I am praying for the self-rescue. I want Jocelyn to channel her inner Carly, grab a heavy blunt object, and absolutely wreck Cassius when he least expects it. Smash that shift key because I am screaming for a Jocelyn beat-down moment. She needs to show him that you do not mess with a Corinthos Jax woman and expect to walk away without a few broken bones. She needs to break his poise meter land, a critical hit, and sprint for the docks. And think about the aftermath. When Jocelyn finally escapes and makes it back to the mainland, the fallout is going to be biblical. Carly is going to wait